So the LA Chargers just got great Justin Herbert news. And I mean fantastic Herbert news. And I don't want to oversell this. I don't, but Harbaugh usually when he starts making compliments and singling out a player, you know that player's about to do something special. I want to make sure you have enough volume here. You know that player's about to do something special. And Harbaugh is out here just singing praises of the shot caller, the signal caller, the man in the middle. I don't know why I'm saying all these things. Your quarterback, Justin Herbert. So let's get into this video about some of the things that Harbaugh said, and let's read between the lines on a couple of these things about what it means on where Herbert stands and what to expect from him going into this season, because I think he could have gone one of two ways. When you get this new coaching staff, when you have his best receivers gone, like he can either say, hey, I'm going to end up and I'm going to go and I'm going to try even harder to prove that I'm the guy for this franchise, or he could go like, hey, why are you taking all my weapons away? And he could sulk. And there's some things that I think should be really, really good. So here's what Harbaugh had to say. All right. The first thing he said, the conditioning test was another eye-opener. Just when you think he can't go another rung on the ladder of my esteem, anyway, he finds another one, Harbaugh said Tuesday. He smashed the conditioning test last Thursday. I mean, crushed it. Like out in front with people trying to keep up with him to the point the athleticism and strength, he really could play tight end here. He could play edge rusher here. So I take this in a couple of different ways. Number one, could be how much are we going to see this guy run? And when you're sitting here talking about the athleticism, is it just simply I want the threat of being able to run and I want other teams to honor that early in the season? Or is it, hey, this guy really is a ridiculous athlete and maybe he can be utilized a little bit more running? I don't know if I would like to see him run more. Like, it's one of those things where, okay, so Lamar Jackson, I would love seeing Lamar Jackson run just because he has great arm talent, but there is some lacking in that passing game, right? Like whether it's inaccuracy at times, whether it's decision making and things like that. He's had great years and he's had not great years throwing the football. And his passer rating would also back that up. Whereas Herbert, like his right arm is so special, I don't know if he needs that. But the dude's 6'6", 235 pounds. He's probably right. He almost is big enough to play tight end or edge. Like he can just put on a little bit. But here's the second thing that I take away from that. If you have your quarterback, who is your de facto team leader, coming into mid-June, and he's at OTAs and he's at mini camp and he is putting in enough work that not only is he doing good on the conditioning test, but people are trying to keep up with him, then that means that this guy has been out there conditioning like crazy even in the off season. And maybe he's just chomping at the bit to get back after missing the back end of the season with the finger injury and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe he's just chomping at the bit to get back at it. But here's what I do know. When I see a quarterback that is coming in and has just a great conditioning, that's really, really good. All right. So here's more stuff that he said. He said he's been incredible. I think that it's probably the reaction everybody has. From my standpoint, I knew he was really good. But when you're right up next to him watching, where you can feel the way the ball comes out of his hand, when it comes out, it's going a lot faster than you think, than it looks on tape. He's bigger, taller than you'd think watching TV. Every kind of sense, smart. Yeah, he's saying he's smarter. It's incredible the way he picks things up and masters things. Every detail, every small detail. What this tells me is that you have a quarterback for the first time, I would say since, if I'm being honest, Andrew Luck, that Jim Harbaugh seems to really trust. And that was a college kid, right? And he talked about how good McCarthy was and how he was a generational talent at Michigan. I understand that, but he didn't use him like a generational talent because the team was built in a different way. If Jim Harbaugh has this confidence in Herbert, then what you're starting to realize is, yeah, this can be a run-first team, but Herbert's still going to throw. He's still going to get his, all right? He feels like he's confident. He's not just talking about his physical characteristics. He's talking about his mental makeup. He's talking about how fast he picks things up, how fast he reads things. That tells me you have a coach that trusts the quarterback. And when you're trusting a quarterback, like, things flat out get different. So I'm really excited to see kind of how that's going to look, how that's going to play out when it comes to this offense. And then the final thing that we're hearing here, the arm talent is even better than advertised. It's an exciting thing. I found myself just sitting at my desk at times going, he's on our team. You know, it's not just in shorts, because I've seen him do this on 11-11 NFL padded football games. Harbaugh in the NFL has never had an elite quarterback. He was able to get the most out of Colin Kaepernick. And yes, I am not going to shy away from that. When Harbaugh was gone, Kaepernick was no longer good. I understand that there was the whole thing, the political stuff with Kaepernick. I get that. And I think what people realize is that before Kaepernick did all that, like, he had already kind of lost his starting job. He already was being kind of removed as a starting NFL caliber quarterback. Backup, yes, absolutely, should have been. I mean, maybe. You say whatever you want. I don't really get into that stuff on these channels. But what I will say is I think this is the first time at this level that Harbaugh has been able to work with a quarterback that legitimately can and should be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He's had good quarterbacks in college, and when he had a good quarterback in college, by the way, McCarthy was drafted 5th, okay? 5th, all right? You had Williams, you had Daniels, you had May, and you had Penix, all drafted ahead of him. He was the 5th best quarterback in college football last year based on what professional or pros think. But when Harbaugh had him as his starting quarterback, he won a national championship. He only lost 1 game with McCarthy over 2 years. So when Harbaugh has that quarterback that is as good or better than the competitions on a night in, night out basis, it is difficult to impossible to beat his teams. Michigan was very athletic, but they weren't the most athletic team in the country. They might have been the strongest, all right, because of the strength and conditioning coach, and now you have that coach. So congratulations. I'm just saying this could be a match made in heaven, and I can't wait to see what they do for the next, hopefully, 10 years. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.